Hi, welcome. This is a awesome interview here with the wonderful Kelly Schultz.
Hi.
So we are going to kind of dig in your mind and kind of see how you create these beautiful creations. So, as an artist, I must ask, what draw you to become an artist? Well, you knew it was your calling.
I think that I've always enjoyed drawing a lot. Like when I was a kid, my sister and I actually used to draw these little characters, like little mice characters. We really liked Angelina Ballerina. So like I think if you know like the show and the books. So we did a lot of little like stories, and I think I was more into like illustration as a kid. And then I just kept drawing a lot. Took a lot of classes in high school. Eventually, I went to an art college called Montserrat in Beverly, Massachusetts, which is like right next to Salem.
Okay.
But like originally, when I went to school, I wanted to be an art teacher, and I think like even once I realized that wasn't for me, I was like, okay, I'll be like a curator or something. I'll like work in the arts, but I'll not focus on my own art. And I don't think it was until like really late into college when I realized like I'm just here to make art, and I just want to be a painter. Yeah, so it's just kind of, I guess, just art has always been around.
How did you feel working with different medias, and when did you discover the media you work with now with your work was the right one for you?
I think I was lucky enough to, in high school even, I got to try a bunch of different things. Like I took a ceramics class, I took graphic design, I even took a couple fashion classes, which I think is like rare for some high schools. So I was able to kind of like dabble a lot in things other than painting, and then that continued in college where it's like you have to take 2D art classes and 3D art classes, and you have to take, I took printmaking, which I really liked, and I was just trying a lot of things because I had to, basically, which is good because at that age I don't think I would have on my own. Like I think I would have just been like, I should paint, everyone just paints or whatever. So trying other things like influenced my work, which obviously I found my way back to painting, and that's what I primarily do. But the type of paper I use, I've used the same paper since college. It's called Yupo paper. It's like a thick, plasticky kind of resin paper, and it allows for a lot of like water to be used and a lot of taking the paint away, and like even once it dries, you could take the paint off if you want, if you get in there really good with some water. So
there's some good options.
Yeah, absolutely. And it allows for like a really free flowing of the paint, which is why I like it so much. And that was shown to me in college by a professor. Her name's Barbara Moody, and she was just a fantastic artist. And she did this whole lesson specifically on Yupo paper. So the class that I teach at Jedidiah that I just started doing, like I took a lot of inspiration from her and like what she showed me in that class, how to experiment with paint or ink, and how to, you could put the paint down with all this water and then like blow on it with a straw and like spread it across the page and take it away and put it back, and it's a lot of fun.
Something that I also wanted to mention, that I think in a way finding your journey, not wanting to be a teacher, helped in a way, because that way you took a little piece of influence on that, so you're able to teach your own style, and that makes sense.
That's a good point. Yeah,
like it happens for a reason.
All art is really personal, and like
definitely
it's drawing from your own experiences. So it's just like taking these little moments that have happened to you or people and then just like building them up into something fantastic.
I truly feel like each of your work does have a story to tell.
Thank you.
I definitely see that.
So this is a pair. This is one of the more recent pairs I did. I have another pair here waiting to be painted, but
wow.
I really like doing cowboy boots. Obviously, just personally, that's one of my favorite things to paint. But this is like kind of a more, if I guess you could consider it, minimal pair that I did. I really like working with these like little kind of exploding like star shapes. So there's a lot of those all over the place. And I'm really into like little dots and circles. I've always been obsessed with circles and orbs and things like that. So yeah, they were a lot of fun. But doing things that have been like wearable art is more recent for me. I started doing that within the past few years, but I think that it makes sense because everything I paint, I want to feel like a world. So why wouldn't I make things that feel like I could cover the whole room in the art and all the people in it in the art, and like it's just all kind of part of the same fantasy land.
Like it's not just like traditional wall in the art. It's everywhere.
Yeah, like if I could do an installation that would
Ooh.
be amazing. You know.
These are really cool. I like the
Oh, thank
detail.
you so much. Yeah, these were my dad's shout out. He gives me some of his old boots sometimes to paint and sell and do whatever. If he's like, they're all, you know, upcycled. So either I'm finding them at the thrift or something, or I'm getting them from my dad because he has a lot of boots.
Yeah. And do you have any special inspiration or an artist you have in mind that inspires your work?
Yeah, I think for inspiration, I take a lot of inspiration from like architecture, churches, and you know, castles, kind of really grand looking architecture.
Fashion kind?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, religion in general, I think is like a big influence and like a big theme that I work with, as well as like magic and folklore, video games, like I mentioned, and anime sometimes. And then for favorite artists, I have a lot. I love Yayoi Kusama. I really like a lot of installation artists and a lot of like people who do site-specific work. More recently, I've been really into an artist, Ash Keating, who's an Australian painter, and he does these big, very flowing paintings that he takes, like, he'll take, like, it looks like a pressure washer, and, like...
Pressure washer?
Yeah,
Wow.
like a big hose or something. They're huge. And just, like, you know, kind of splash the paint down and get it to make these dripping forms.
So as most artists definitely can relate, especially with artist block, what is something that you do to keep inspired, especially when you come during those times?
Yeah, I think with artist block, I think the thing for me to learn with it is like not to put too much pressure on yourself. If I'm like every day I try to do something that's gonna go into the creative practice, but some days you just don't have like the energy to sit down and paint. So some days it's doing a sketch in my sketchbook, and some days it's just like writing something in there, a sentence, or maybe doing a plan, a little quick sketch of like something bigger that I want to make. Artist block does suck, but then yeah, I'll switch to something else too. That's another thing, like keeping multiple projects going at once keeps things interesting, so it helps like fight the artist block.
And what is the best advice that you would give to an artist that you have received?
Yeah, I think one thing that was said to me that was kind of hard to accept at the time in school, I remember in college, like a professor was kind of saying to everyone, like, the work you're making right now is not the work you'll be making forever. So don't be too precious about it, don't hold on to it, and don't be afraid of change. And I think that that's important because your work's going to shift naturally, and you're going to want to hold on to like the way you've always been working. And sometimes like I have an urge to like fight it when I get a new idea because I'm like, I'm already doing too many different things. I should stick to this one thing. But then the work can get stale, and like there are periods in my life where I feel like I've been like resistant to change with my work, and then it kind of all starts to look the same and it just feels stale. So it's important to keep it fresh and keep it moving and keep doing new things. So I would tell anyone the same thing probably, now that I've accepted that.
Well, I really want to thank you so much for showing me your world. And honestly, I do believe that you're actually going to make a huge impact in this world because you wanted to put your artwork not only in paper, but in clothes and books and lights and just anything. So I really do believe that once you create your style that you're looking for and that's what you want to go for, I believe it's going to expand.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for coming and checking everything out. And yeah, I love, you know, being able to like show people what I've been working on, and I think that having like a bigger space eventually to do that in would be super cool. But yeah, I appreciate it.
Definitely. And don't lose hope, because I feel like every artist finds like their own little space, and eventually it's going to be expanded out there. So,
oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. Well, feel free to check out her website and check out Jedidiah's website, and also you can check out and even purchase one of her artworks too. So you can have your own creation of her original work with you, so you can carry it with you everywhere you go. So, all right, it's been a pleasure, Kelly.
Thanks so much. I agree.